Hello challengers! Today I have for you a quick tour of the interactive map. It's a useful tool that gives a visual representation of various bits of information that you'll find in the event details and on the website, and it also shows information that will be useful in planning your route, such as where river crossings may be hindered by missing bridges or helped by unexpected bridges. And it also covers things like access issues, difficult ground, and where there are shelters around the country. So let's get the map up on the screen and have a look. The first question is where you'll find the interactive map, and as is usually the case, I'm going to direct you to the TGO Challenge website, which as you can see in the address bar here is tgochallenge.com, and under the resources menu, on that menu is interactive map. Click there, takes you to this page, and if you click anywhere on this small depiction of the map, it will take you to the actual map. And if we just zoom in a little bit, you'll see there's an awful lot of information on there and it's rather cluttered. Now over on the right we have two lists of checkboxes, and the first thing I'm going to do is in this bottom list I'm going to uncheck all of those boxes, which will remove all of the pins off this map. So there we have the almost blank map, and all we're left with now is what is shown in this top menu, and there are three things essentially there. We have the perimeter area, so any route you plot must be kept within that initial red line, and we can turn that off too, but I don't think there's any harm leaving that switched on to check that you are staying within it. If we then zoom in a little bit, you can see that some of these red lines are going across water, and probably unsurprising to know that that is ferry information. If we go down to the bottom box of the points of interest and click on that, on ferries, that will give us pins everywhere that there is a key ferry crossing. So if I just look at this one here, if I mouse over it, it gives just a top level description, the name of it, that's the Oban to Lismore ferry. And if we click on it, it gives the grid reference and a little bit of information, which in this case is just a phone number. And then we can just click back off them. So if I turn ferries back off, they will all disappear. And then we've got these areas here, which clearly aren't ferry crossings. And if I turn estate requests on, these get a dot. So for example, this one here is Glenfeshie. Whilst it is okay to camp in Glenfeshie under the Scottish Outdoor Access Code, the estate does request that challengers confine their camping to the Bothy area or further up the glen. So you can hover over any of these to see what the name is, and then if you click on them, if I actually zoom right into this one, you can see that there is a red line under it. Click on them and you get more information. I'll just zoom back out again and I'll turn estate requests off. Now there's various other useful information on here, so if I go to start and end points, this might be where you want to start your planning, because that puts us points on the map, all of the 14 start points down the west coast, and it just illustrates where the southernmost and northernmost end points are, and you can end anywhere up this coast. And again, if you just mouse over it, it tells you the name of the start point, and if you click on it, it not only describes something about that start point, but it also gives a little snippet of information about how you might go about getting there. If I stick with the theme of information that is within the event details, we've got foul weather alternatives. If I just pointed it, tells you it's Fords of Arn, and if you click on it, it just tells you where it is and that foul weather alternative is required. And then we've got information that isn't contained within the event details. So for example, river crossings, there's a lot of dots on the map there, and we really have to zoom in quite a long way to separate some from others. And so for example here we've got bridges missing, bridges unserviceable, bridges in good condition. Now this information is kept as up to date as we can, but clearly we can't go out and check every bridge in Scotland every month of the year to keep this up to date. So this does rely on information that we have been able to check or that people are able to give us. So if you do come across any information that you think should be on this map, then there is a form on the website that you can fill in, or you can just drop an email to the usual email address telling us what it is that you know that either can be added to here or that is incorrect on here and needs bringing up to date. You might have seen on the examples that I just gave, a lot of these do actually have dates on them, so you can see how up to date that information is. So if I turn river crossings back off and turn access issues on, these are the places where we know there are access issues, which may be matters of electric fences, it may be estates where the estate owners aren't complying with the access code and are denying access. So for example, up here in the Eskdale Triangle, there has been a very long running dispute. If I just turn on difficult ground, that'll put a number of notes on the screen telling us of where there's difficulties in the ground, funnily enough. So Glenfeshie, popular area, that tells of the landslip. But if you explore these in detail, you may find that there's actually somewhere it's the opposite of difficult ground, in that somewhere that you expect will be difficult has now been made easier. So if I choose this one, it tells you that there's actually a new track in what appears on the Ordnance Survey map to still be a pathless glen, thus making what was previously difficult ground much more straightforward. And the other thing that may be of use is there's shelters. These are non-MBA shelters, but that are generally well known. We don't give details of all non-MBA bothies, but these are the ones that are well known and generally used by challengers. And there is also all of the MBA bothies within the challenge area. And as per everything else, as you're going to expect by now, if you mouse over it tells you the name of the bothy, and if you click on it, it gives you the grid reference and perhaps some information about it. I happen to have clicked on Culver there, which is actually closed due to asbestos. So there you go. I hope that was useful to you and gives you a little bit of an overview of what you can find on this map, which, as I say, is a mix of what you'll find in the event details and on the website, and also a lot of useful information about river crossings, difficult ground, and where you'll find shelters along the way. I will just mention that if you zoom in, this map type, which is the Open Topo map, gives quite a good representation of the landscape with a reasonable number of place names, clearly shows the roads. But if for some reason you do want a different type of map displayed, you can have a little play and change the map type upon this menu. Some of these map types just give place names give different place names from the other maps, and sometimes that can be useful if you're trying to orientate yourself and you're not quite familiar with an area.